Welcome back, everyone, to the CRL B stream here on the CCA channel. I am Vaudable, and again, here is Hunted. And I do have to make a little bit of a correction on the matchup that we are having. That was actually tomorrow that we're having UTA versus Nebraska. Tonight, we are having Nebraska versus the Utah Utes Black. So that'll be a pretty interesting matchup there. Any thoughts about this one that we actually have on stream?
Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I thought we'd get to see Arlington play, but no, I think this one should be, if Nebraska continues to play the way that they have played in previous seasons and towards the start of this one, I think Nebraska has this wrapped up. Although Utah Black is a bit of an outlier for me in this in the CRL in general. Because we've seen bits and pieces of these teams play, with the other Utah team in different tournaments and things. I don't know how they combine as a team yet, and I need a little bit more information in this season to really, predict what they're going to do moving forward. So, of course, I got to lean a little bit towards Nebraska, but hey, you never know. This Utah Black team could come out strong.
And this is the first time we are seeing this Utah Black team play any of their matches so far for the fall season. So another debut, but this time it's not against Mizzou. It's going to be against Nebraska. Nebraska are the ones who 3-1'd Mizzou earlier. So this will be an interesting matchup regardless of the result. I'm excited to see what happens with Utah Black because they are the secondary team for the University of Utah. It's going to be very telling how the rest of the season is going to go for both rosters if the Utah Black team is able to take down Nebraska.
Yeah, and again, I put Nebraska as one of the top 4 teams. It's hard to tell exactly where, but they are among the likes of Arizona, LSU, and North Texas. So I consider Nebraska, like I said, top 4. If they drop this series, like you said, that could be very telling for Nebraska. I just don't see it happening unless they underestimate their opponent, or if again, if Utah Black comes out and shows that they know how to play against this team. But we're underway with game number 1, and Celadon almost scores early on.
And one thing to note is that we didn't really think Michigan would fall the way they did in the first series in a 3-0 sweep, but it is possible for a lot of these teams. There is 16 teams in each conference, so plenty of variation that can happen. They are a good demo for Chanos against the defender. That won't really open up too much space just yet. Alex able to take it down towards that corner, but not past Parkour Penguin. A good demo for him. Wizard not really able to do too much with that reception, but there's another solid setup off towards the post and popped up right into the path of Wizard. And again, barely able to take that away from the net, off the backboard. Solid setup, but no follow through yet.
Now we'll see what Parker Penguin can do. He's got Celadon in mid. Great pass, better save. Wizard a beauty. Still the ball in Utah Black's zone, but so far in this game, it's been back and forth. Pretty close. I mean, I think the better opportunities have gone towards Nebraska, but nothing has found its way in yet, and Utah Black now looking to push the offense.
Utah Black on offense didn't really last for as long as they would have liked. Just gave it up to Nebraska positioning-wise and possession-wise. And again, they have yet another shot on net. We've seen 3 so far from Celadon, 1 from Parkour Penguin, and only 2 out of all 3 members of Utah Black. So they've been really struggling to get any shots on, much pressure on offense. This is kind of what we expect to see, especially with Nebraska being the team that they are.
Yeah, the combination of Celadon and Parkour Penguin is so scary. No matter what team you're playing on or whoever you are, whatever your accomplishments are in the CRL, you always have to watch out for this Nebraska team, because they play so well together and they're such good players in their own right. I mean, just this past week, Celadon had a legitimate shot of making the rival series, as that one goes off the post from Wizard. That, Nebraska is one of those teams that they can be sneaky, but people know who they are, and you've got to respect them.
we're seeing a lot of that respect given to the defense of Nebraska, whereas Utah Black, they really have needed to capitalize on the space that has been given to them instead of respecting their opponents as much as they have on the defensive end. They haven't really been going for many follow-ups. We haven't seen much passing plays given, but there's a solid shot from Chanos that they're just not able to save.
This is all Roseladon here. He doesn't give up on the play and forces Alex to make a poor touch to pass that out in front to the awaiting Chanos, who just fires that into the back of the goal. 2:07 to go in game number one. That's a 1-0 lead for Nebraska. Now this one's going to drop down. There's Parkour Penguin. Wizard to clear. Now Roseladon to collect. Goes over top of Wizard. Silva looking for Alex Walters. That one's just down. It's still awkwardly on this back wall. Silva out in front. No follow-up. All three players are here. Nobody able to turn the ball on net. But, man, Utah Black has really given Nebraska something to think about on defense, and they finally score. Silva goes top shelf. We're tied at 1.
And what a great way to get that first goal on the board. Silva, perfect reception there. The defense was none the wiser, and they're able to capitalize on the opportunity that was given to them, and the defense not really being in the greatest spot.
1-1 late in game one. Wizard goes over top of Parkour Penguin. Roseladon getting dunked there. This time Wizard looking for Silva. Actually bumps Silva. This could give Chanos some opportunity. He's got a lot of time to look for a pass. He doesn't get a touch, though. That is a play that needs to be made. At the very least, you got to get that ball out in front. Parkour Penguin was waiting.
And that would have been the perfect opportunity to strike for this Nebraska team. But Utah Black, they've been able to hold them back for so long. Whereas an open opportunity there, but no one close by for the follow-through on Nebraska. They can't really afford to let those opportunities go by the wayside. But instead, they're just going to be taking it in stride in this first game. And that was a great play by Wizard, but not enough to get past Roseladon.
Now, Wizard has had a wonderful game. He's got 3 shots, 3 saves, and an assist. He has really been the player that has opened up space for his team. Even getting the play to keep the ball in there. He got demoed for it. Silva might have an opportunity. Flick up towards Wizard. Roseladon gets there, but Wizard wins the challenge. Still, they continue to play in the orange zone. 3 seconds left in regulation time. Wizard to Roseladon. Is that on net? No, it's just wide. Woo! Opportunity there, and crisis averted if you're Utah Black.
Game 1 overtime. Closer than we would have expected, but this is the first time seeing this Utah Black roster on a stream and even in any of the league play matches. Alex is able to get that great touch, but over to Roseladon, not going to be enough to force it through. And that was a great play by Chanos to bait out the attacker, keep up the pressure going on offense. Parkour Penguin not able to hold on long enough. Alex, right past one, not past the other. It will be up to Silva to hit that to the end for Parkour Penguin to continue his movement forward, but not anyone on follow-up. No one wanting to overcommit on this overtime. No one wants to give an inch to Utah Black. And on Utah Black, they don't want to give anything to these players on Nebraska.
That was an opportunity for Parkour Penguin.
Oh.
Roseladon will finish it off, though. Finally, the ball finds its way towards the front of the goal. Parkour Penguin had a shooting opportunity, goes just high with a pass back to his teammate from Chanos. That was a beauty. And on his 5th shot, Roseladon finally cracks the armor of the defense. Nebraska take game 1 in overtime.
And what a way to do it, too. 5 shots for Roseladon, but look at all of them on the side of Utah Black. They are not going to go down without a fight, especially with all the pressure they were able to put on. Just wasn't enough in overtime. It was all Nebraska that entire half of the field. They had possession, they had the positioning, and they were able to put on the shots as well. And eventually it led to their victory in game 1, but game 2, might be a completely different story, especially if Utah Black are able to get the advantage early.
And, I think we saw a couple of different stories just in that first game. Certainly overtime, I think, was dominated by Nebraska. They definitely had the possession, and it paid off for them in the end. But really, it felt like Utah Black, they were just rolling with the punches. They let Nebraska have their chances. They played defense well. But then once they got on the offensive side of the ball, they were not afraid to challenge. And that's what I absolutely love, is they weren't afraid of Nebraska. They played the way they wanted to play, and eventually it led to opportunities. Now, if they could turn that into a couple more goals, hey, they take a game and maybe take the series.
And that's how you have to play, especially with it being 16 teams in each conference. There's no chance to take your foot off the gas pedal at all and take it easy, especially on defense. And we saw some great work being put in by Utah Black because they had to pull out all stops on all points of the field, and we'll see more of that in game 2 of this best of 5. But there is a quick start, but not gonna be so lucky off the post. There's the follow-up and a block from Silva, and another bump, and that's gonna lead to the first one for Rosilodon on the rotation.
And this is what I like to call just a garbage goal. It's not pretty, but it's the rebounds that matter. You get to the ball first after the initial touches, and they find their way into the back of the goal. Nebraska will take that every single day of the week. First goal 10 seconds in. It's purely based off the rebound control and the rebound play from Nebraska. We'll see if they can get another one. That's a pass over. Celadon at the last second decides to turn off. Parkour Penguin will play it. Chanos can get there, not quite in time to beat Wizard to that ball. So we stay 1-0, 30 seconds in, game number 2.
Utah Black are bunching up way too much on the defensive end. We saw Wizard as well as Silva too close for comfort multiple times there. They are able to transition onto offense, so it might be enough to keep it in play, but again, sent back towards their back wall. Might be a chance for Zildon. Silva gonna take that away. Smart move by him because they all know how dangerous he is as a player on offense.
Chanos, great demo onto Alex. Wizard is there to help his teammate out. Over Celadon to keep the ball in. He's going to utilize the ceiling. That's a good pass, but goes right towards Silva. But Nebraska has really ramped up the energy, really started to put the pressure on the blue half. After that game 1 win in overtime, it has been all Nebraska, really after regulation time in game 1. It has been Nebraska, and they have not stopped. They're looking for another goal in game 2. Parkour Penguins up to take the pass from Rosilodon. We'll try to play it out of the corner. Thanos is there. But no play down in front. But again, look at the challenges and look at how early they are from Nebraska. They're so unafraid to keep this ball moving in the blue zone.
And it's beautiful to see that for Nebraska, especially after going all the way to overtime. They know and they need to keep this up, and they do just that. Parkour Penguin from Rosilodon. We see this duo come into play yet again. A demo is not going to be enough to lead to any resolving of pressure on the defensive end. Now we see the 2-goal lead for Nebraska, and probably more to follow from that.
If there was any stat that I could add into this game that gets tracked live and we could see it, it would be zone time or time of possession. And if we had a chance to get that from Nebraska, just on that last goal, I mean, they were in the Utah Black zone for at least a minute, which is not good if you are the blue team because you cannot get the ball out of your zone. You lose that boost battle so very hard. And again, controlling mid-boosts, controlling mid-challenges, it's working well for Nebraska. And this is the scary part about their game. They get going like this, it's so hard to stop them.
And that's what we saw from Utah Black. They didn't have much boost to work with on offense, so they had limited options to go towards that net, try to put something on, and it just was not working out in their favor because of how starved they were. Rosilodon, though, dropping it down. A good touch from Wizard to knock that away, followed up by Silva. Might have a chance here, but not enough power behind it. Wizard going to be stopped out by Rosilodon. He's just been an all-rounder, and it seems like they're just going to continue to be in position, keeping up with the rules of Rocket League as much as they can.
So it turns into a 2-on-2 for the moment. Saladon and now Chanos looking for a touch. There's Silva to clear it away. This one's popped way up high. Wizard can't quite beat Chanos to the ball. Celadon goes hard off the back wall. Chanos is there. Can't quite get it. Now here comes the counterattack. Oh, they break the rule. That's a bit unfortunate. I think that was even Alex. He was trying to get the redirect and he didn't get there. Would
have been a good reasoning to break it, but unfortunately for him, it did not work out at all. Goes back to a 3-on-3. Lasted a fair amount of time, but still going to be a 2-goal lead. Oh,
and he
not
gets
as
it.
soon as I say that, Alex able to get it past the last defender, and now they are within one with less than a minute by 5 seconds.
Let's see how Utah Black utilizes this suddenly gained third player. They do have 55 seconds, as you said, to score 1 goal. Silva, he'll chip that around the first defender. Gets it by Rasiladon as well. Parkour Penguin, he does get it around to Alex, but Wizard is there to help his teammate. The pressure is on Nebraska now. They've got to hold out for another 40 seconds around the corner wall. Parkour Penguin beats both players, and now Chanos might have some room to clear. Wizard, last man back, does get a touch on it, but this is a lot of time coming off the clock.
Ooh, that's not a good look for either team. Both of them missing on the defensive end and on offense. Now cleared to Silva. A good bounce from that, but not enough to set them up for a good opportunity. Alex and his teammate Silva, I believe that was, both going up for the play. Nobody in net. That's going to lead to a goal, and with 9 seconds remaining, they need a kickoff goal to have a possibility of coming back here.
That's just a wonderful pass from Celadon. Knew exactly where his teammate was and hit him. Pass just across midfield. So it's 3-1, and as you said, kickoff goal is required. Silva might have a chance. It's a slow bouncer, though, and that's going to be Parkour Penguin to clear. That will also be a 2-game series lead now for Nebraska. 3-1 the final, assumingly. Yes, 3-1 the final of game number 2, and Nebraska, I mean, they looked a little slow in game 1, but in game 2, they picked it up, and they showed that they are here to play, and it can be so very difficult to stop them.
And that was the first half and a little bit of more into the second half of Nebraska having dominance of pressure and possession on the blue half of the field. Utah Black, they were able to get a few shots in, but at the end of the day, a few shots isn't going to lead to the victory unless you can actually secure those, get them past the goal line, make sure that you're either able to tie things up and get things back into your favor after you get the lead. But Nebraska, they were just leading that one for way too long. And Utah Black took a little bit too long themselves to try and get back into that game.
Yeah, and, you know, of course, every game of Rocket League is a battle, right? I mean, it's a battle on the pitch. It's a battle for positioning. It's a battle for, ball control, possession. And one of the key battles in a game of Rocket League is the battle for boost. And specifically the midfield boosts. Because you can rely on your back boost, a decent amount to be there when you need them. But those midfield boosts are so important to have control over. If you're constantly taking both away from the enemy team, I mean, just do the math. There's 3 of them and only 2 back boosts for them. If they get both of them, all of a sudden, at least one player has no boost. And Nebraska did that fantastically. They controlled mid every single opportunity they got. And you talked about possession and time of, zone time. That is the reason why. There's no boost for Utah Black.
All the boost, all the positioning, and all the angles in the world, especially for Rasiladon, set up by Chanos. Wizard was not really able to get the greatest deflection there, and instead it was completely read by Rasiladon. Perfect reception from him to throw it all the way into the net.
Early goal for Nebraska, 1-0. Only 10 seconds in. Silva, great dunk, gives Alex a chance to shoot. Rasiladon does get there in time. Now Chanos can't get it by Wizard. Dangerous play, but they do manage to find the clear. Silva is the final defender will make the touch. Parkour Penguin can't quite get up there, but Chanos will. And gets another one. Over towards Parkour Penguin. That one's just wide. Celadon rushing in. But he can't beat Alex to the ball, and Silva will clear it back down. 4:15 to go. This is game number 3. A 2-0 series lead now for Nebraska. Again, we approach sweep territory here, as we've seen throughout the night, as the 3-man passing play. Beautiful from Nebraska. It's 2-0.
Perfect touch from Parkour Penguin over to Resildon, then to Chanos, and bar down and in the defense. Even though they had a chance to get back in time, they had some boost in the tank to work with, they were just caught their pants down, basically. It seemed like they weren't in the greatest of positions at all. And we keep seeing that happen time and time again. Nebraska have been able to put some great shots on, but no, they weren't able to do enough there. Popped it up a bit too far. Follow-throughs have not been enough either for Utah Black, and Nebraska are going to get away with that one.
Yeah, it looked like Silva rushed that a little too much. Obviously wanted to beat the defenders to the ball, but didn't quite get the read. Now Parkour Penguin makes a save onto Wizard. This goes off the ceiling, and Chanos will clear. Kept alive in the blue zone by Parkour Penguin, but Silva trying to take his time. Does get challenged by Chanos. Has a net to shoot at him. Will find it. Cuts the angle again, does Chanos, and it's doomed to... I'm sorry, that's his second goal. There's now 3-0.
You would think after what we've seen previously from Utah Black that it would be a 2-1 situation, but instead 3-0 in the favor of Nebraska. Not even 2 minutes gone off the clock so far. There might be another chance for Utah Black to try and get something going on offense. And they've even had more shots than Nebraska have. Nebraska have had 4 and scored on 3 of those, while we have seen 6 shots for Utah Black, and none of them have really been on target enough to get past this defense of Nebraska.
Yeah, it's one of the flaws of how shots are tracked in this game. We track just purely shots. We don't track opportunities. When you look at the the dangerous shots, or the scoring chances, if you will, Nebraska has had the majority of them in the series and just this game. There was another one there. Chanos just didn't quite get on goal. But the shots are important, and we talk about throwing balls at the net. Eventually something's going to find its way in, as Alex Walters tried to make that play there. Wizard will keep it going, but Nebraska has created the opportunities, and they've capitalized on everything.
And we've seen Utah Black, they've had a few of these opportunities, but they have squandered them. They haven't been there for the follow-ups. They've been bunched up like we saw happen in the previous 2 games, and they've just been struggling to get things going on offense. Even if they're able to put some shots on, they aren't quality challenges. Silva couldn't really do too much there. He would have been able to connect, but he saw all 3 members in position there. And then Wizard not able to do enough. There's Chanos again, but luckily for Utah Black, Silva was able to get in the way of that one. Now they have a chance to transition, though. This is all up to Silva, but he gets it past for Celadon. Almost gave it up to him with the angle.
Man, that was really close. I thought Silva took his time a bit too much there. Celadon almost gets around to that ball, but it does find its way in. So Utah Black, they bring it back within 2. They've got just about 89 seconds remaining. Good challenge from Celadon right over top of Silva. Not trying to take his time. Goes around Parkour Penguin, and Chanos was way up on that play, looking to support. Luckily won't get punished as Celadon's back in time, but he does whiff on that ball. There's Chanos all hard off the back wall. Wizard's there, but Parkour Penguin, right place, right time, makes the save.
Silva needed that bump on the defense, but there's a double commit. We see Silva going up for it. No connection in sight. Having to leave this one up to Wizard. We're seeing a lot more of Utah Black being on the orange half of the field. And that's exactly where they need to be if they want to come back by these 2 goals. Even if they aren't as accurate, they're keeping up with the possession on the orange half of the field, and maybe that might be enough to get them to a tie game. But again, they keep giving up space in the midfield, And shots like that to Rosilodon, it seems less and less likely that they will tie up this game.
Yeah, 3-goal lead, 34 seconds. It's going to be tough for Utah Black, especially with the way that Nebraska has been playing. It seems like Nebraska has gotten better as every game has gone on. As the series has progressed, Nebraska, they just look better and better, and there's been no answer from Utah Black. And this is what we were talking about in the pregame, that Nebraska is a team that you can't get behind. I mean, you have to take it to them early, and they're such a quality team that even if you do that, they always are in the games. You can never count out Nebraska.
Especially with how we've seen them perform against Mizzou previously. Now we see a complete sweep again. The final match of the night! Exclamation points in the chat. I'm sure you know the words that go after that, but it's been great to see how Nebraska was showing the consistency we expect from this team. And Utah Black, even though this was their debut, they still have, 14 more matches to go after this? So they have a long road ahead of them. This is just the first stop on it. And Nebraska, as we were billing them, one of the top teams in the Western Conference that we expect. So they still have so many more matches to improve upon what we've seen.
Yeah, I put Nebraska in the top 4, and I think they showed to us why they deserve that honor at this point. Of course, it is still a long season. We've said that multiple times. There's still so much Rocket League left to play for all of these teams. That things can change quite quickly, just even over the course of a week. You know, you get a little bit of confidence, and all of a sudden you start playing really well, and you beat teams that you wouldn't have beat last week. So you never know how it'll go. But for me, Nebraska, they just this week alone, they've shown that yes, we're still here, we're still relevant, we're going to be pushing for that top spot. And I'm really excited for the West. I think the East is a little bit more even as far as all the teams, kind of across it all. They seem a little bit more even. Whereas the West, it seems like it's just going to be a power struggle at the top, and I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's great having this round-robin format. Top 8 teams from each of the brackets able to make it to that regional playoff. And then we'll see the top 2 from each of those make it to the actual finals. So that'll be pretty great to see. We also will see Nebraska tomorrow, that matchup that I talked about, them against UTA. It'll be pretty nice to see how that turns out. Some great matches tomorrow, some great casters as well. We'll have Squid, we'll have Meet and Greet. They're going to have a ball with all of the teams that they're going to be casting and all of the great matchups to come. This is the CRL B stream here on the CCA or College Carball channel. I have been Vaudible, and joining me, or who has joined me for the 4 matches that we have had, has been Hunted. And we hope you all tune in tomorrow. Make sure to follow the channel. So we'll be starting around the exact same time of the broadcast as we did today. So definitely stay tuned. Make sure you keep up with all CRL action. Follow it all on Twitter, especially for the Rocket League Esports Twitter, and even the Discord. CCA, the official spot that you can connect with all of the different colleges. And it's just great to see so many more chapters come to fruition. And it's great for you all to join us here. But that's a bit of a long-winded sign-off, but thank you for tuning in. I've been Vaudible, that's been Hunted, and this has been the stream.
Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the host.